Justin Matters.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Vauxhall Motors in Ellesmere Port has been producing cars for over 50 years. It employs around 1,000 people, with many thousands more in the supply chain and associated business. But statements made by the parent group over the summer have made it crystal clear that the plant's very existence is dependent on the UK avoiding a no-deal Brexit. We know the plant faced challenges, every car manufacturer does, but in the past, with the help of the government, management and the unions, everyone has pulled together to make it work. But now we have the absurdity of the government actively pursuing a policy which will destroy the industry. WTO terms mean a 10% tariff on all car exports, and around 80% of the vehicles built in Ellesmere Port are exported to the EU. We know the plant just won't be able to compete with other plants across Europe with a 10% albatross around its neck. So it's as stark as that. No deal means no Vauxhalls. And I've always said I would abide by the outcome of the referendum, but that does not mean I will do so at any cost, and certainly not at the cost of my constituents' jobs. And that is where we are now. The government are effectively asking me to put my constituents on the dole queue, and I can't, in all conscience, do that. And I'm astounded that any government would choose that course of action. So let's be clear about where we are. The Conservative Party, which used to have the reputation as the party of business, has purged itself of 21 members for voting against a policy which they know could knock 10% off the economy. If anyone had said a year ago that's where we would find ourselves, I wouldn't have believed you. But such is the reckless ideological madness that we have on the benches opposite. That is exactly where we are today. The Prime Minister tells us that he cannot negotiate with the EU if no deal is taken off the table. But given he claims the primary change he wants to make is on the Irish backstop, which is a very specific issue, there seems to be no connection between the changes he says he wants to make and need to keep the threat of no deal on the table. And I'm also, as many members here are, at a loss to understand how he can reconcile his statement yesterday that the first thing the EU asks in respect of any proposals made by the government is whether they have the support of Parliament, with his refusal to actually share his proposals with Parliament. How can he say we would support his proposals if we don't even know what they are? And it's not just the automotive sector in my constituency that is under threat. Aerospace, chemicals, petroleum, to name but three, employ thousands of people in the area whose jobs are at risk from a no-deal Brexit. I've just come from a briefing by the Road Haulers Association, who have clearly said the sector is not ready for a no-deal Brexit on the 31st of October. They say with just 42 working days left, they still don't know what the customs documentation processes will be or who they can go to for advice on it. They're doing what they can, but at the moment we face haulage businesses going bust and food rotting on lorries because it cannot be delivered in time, let alone the effect it will have on medicine supplies. So let us as a country and as a parliament pull ourselves back from the edge at the 11th hour. Let's have a moment of clarity. Let's have a moment of reason, of compromise, so we don't force Brexit through by the 31st of October, regardless of the consequences, because those consequences will be devastating, they will be enduring, and they will do nothing to heal the deep divisions that have led us here in the first place.
Statement exiting the European Union. Secretary of State Stephen Barker.